So there's a huge problem with sound being produced by highways and stuff like that. Especially it bothers animals, people live in residential neighborhoods, and it slowly causes hearing damage. Now, beyond all this huge problems, people have tried to solve it by putting concrete barriers. But these concrete barriers can sometimes reflect noises in certain ways. In certain areas that it magnifies the noise, they don't absorb noise. Instead, they just more or less reflect it, or they diffract it over it, which means they bend it. So in some places, that it actually increases it because it's bending it in the focus way, beyond reflecting potentially doing it. And another thing is that they could make it louder for people on the highway by reflecting back on the highway. Also, air can bend the sound differently, and if it's hot air near the surface of it, it can actually bend it over and around it through complicated mechanics. But I have proposed, actually by mistake, some ideas that might help solve this. One was porous streets or permeable streets, where I talked about mixing a material that is strong and porous and having little gaps that expand and contract to let in water and other ones, which has a variety of potentially good benefits because they can help it can help prevent flooding. It can let water more naturally seep into the ground, which is better for plants, so plants can grow better in the environment and better for soil microbes. It lets for more filtration of pollutants as it soaks through the ground more slowly and through more layers and deep instead of gathering up. It causes pollutants to travel as far down pavements and pathways and collect more, and when more settles at the surface, where it's more easily taken up by stuff. But porous streets with this mixed design of having hard material and having material where the hard material can expand or not expand would also be a lot better at absorbing noise. So it would also make the whole street system a lot more quiet. Another one is my wind energy ideas. We're talking about combining a machine that can absorb both solar thermal and wind energy that spins along the same axis that spins along the axis that spins is perpendicular to the wind. That one takes in some of the sound energy and converts it into actual electrical energy, because it can handle it's just another energy that hits the blades and turns the blades from any direction, and it acts like the whole thing also muffles air movement, saving energy in that way. So, and it's not reflecting it, it's turning to energy, so there's no concentrated place. Another idea that I propose that would help is my sound absorbing cars idea. Now this one wouldn't, unlike the other ones, it won't provide more energy, it's not as much environment friendly, but it'll just make your ride more pleasant if they absorb sound from the street, goes back into the car. The car's bottom absorbs some of the sound in the sides. Now some of the sound is going to leak away from the car too fast, but it can muffle it to some extent, maybe a couple percent, and the more this muffles it, the more other things can muffle it in the whole system. The less bouncing around, the less constructive interference, and the more just randomness can muffle it and other things. Because systems can get overloaded, like a fuse like a dam. A dam can block some noise, but once it gets too much, the dam can't burst through it. And a lot of muffling systems only work to some extent, and then they just burst. So every little bit does help significantly. Another thing would be designing better tires, because a lot of tires, the tires make the noise, and you can design tires that deform less, so they squish less, and that would also significantly reduce the noise that tires make while increasing the energy efficiency of cars. Electric cars will also help reduce the noise, even though it depends on where you're talking about. The problem with electric cars is they reduce noise of slow-moving cars, but the fast-moving cars, a lot of the noise comes from the wheels turning actually, and from them, the air they push out, that it can't reduce the noise very much of. You could put in more laws with motorcycles to muffle them more, to reduce noise from cars and highways. And all these things can work together. The poor streets is a big infrastructure change, but it would be worthwhile if there was good incentives. The wind energy will pay for itself in very much ways, and it wouldn't cost as much as installing some of these big concrete things. It's likely because it's more of a small scale plastic things. Sometimes it could cost more. It depends on what scale you're doing it. The sound absorbing cars, it's more of an individual car by car basis thing, and you need a lot of them to really help, but it will help the person driving the car already. And you can make it so it doesn't block out, it only blocks out sound of a certain intensity, so you can still hear relatively well in the car. Well, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year and 4,000 watch hours, which is really hard, but with your help, I think I can do it. Also, if any of these for future videos, comments or suggestions, please leave in the comments section below. Thank you very much again. Goodbye.